This is a Motocompo, a tiny little motorcycle from the 1980s that can fold up and fit in the back of a car. But this video is not about the Motocompo. This video is about the Honda City Turbo 2, the car from the 1980s that is so much more than just a carrying case for the bike.
Honda City Turbo 2.
The bike in the back of the car is a fun little party trick, but this car encompasses everything I love about tiny sports cars. 80s tech, and of course, the beginning of the era of modifying JDM sport compacts. The accessory list for the car is nearly endless. So how could I resist when I found this City at auction? That's right, this is my City Turbo 2.
Honda City Turbo 2.
You see, this City Turbo 2 looks different from all those other ones you've seen on the internet, including YouTube videos. It is chock full of so many rare accessories that you had to buy from Honda when the vehicle was brand new. So let's get nerdy, and I'm going to introduce you to a rabbit hole that you didn't know existed. In 1981, Honda decided they needed a car smaller than the Civic, but bigger than the K cars of the era. The City was born to fill that void, and history was made. This car went on to define what a small Honda of the next decade was going to be. The City was an overnight success and went on to sell over 300,000 units. These brochures perfectly captured the aesthetic of the era. The individualism of the youth was a new market, and Honda was ready to run with it. At 780,000 yen, the City left a handful of yen to be spent on optional extras. And Honda delivered with a new business model. Yes, page after page of optional accessories you could order along with the car. Perfect for a generation looking to flash their collective individuality. And it wasn't long before someone had a really good idea. In 1982, Honda came out with a hot hatch version called the Honda City Turbo. The following year, they released an even hotter hatch version, the City Turbo 2. So the engine here is a lot of the reason why people love this car. They took the regular version of the City and hotted it up with the harder suspension, wider fenders, and of course, instead of a 1.2 liter carbureted engine, you got a fuel-injected 1.2 liter turbo engine. This was the pinnacle of Honda's engineering at the time, which is weird that they would put it into a City. This really was the most technically advanced engine that they made up until the B16 engine. Someone at Honda was giving mad scientist vibes. The power doesn't sound like much, just 110 horsepower, but that's a 75% increase over the base City, and that's not even the best part. With a weight of 735 kilograms, the power to weight ratio is exceptional. And here is a list of what the City compares to. Honda was proud of their very first ever production turbo engine, and it can be seen in this fun chart. Yes, that's handwritten labels for the power and torque. The wheels were upgraded from 12s to 13s that had 4 centimeter wider tires at each corner, and to fit them, the front fenders were pushed out an extra 3 centimeters and the rears by 2 centimeters. Under those larger wheels, the brakes came directly from the larger and faster Honda Prelude. Inside the car, the seats were designed with large side bolsters that better hold you in place during cornering, And then the steering wheel and the gauge cluster were also upgraded to complete the package. This car was a true hot hatch with the performance to back it up. These days, the City is a challenge to buy in good condition. In fact, they were hard to find in any condition even a decade ago.
I think I have fully depressed myself.
So when dealing with a classic car like this, you always have to watch out for which parts do you have and which ones can you get. And the City's not easy to get parts for. So I'm really happy to know that almost everything in here is complete. And if I am looking for something like a steering wheel, I could probably find it if I'm patient enough. So why did I buy yet another Honda City Turbo 2? Well, there is a little bit of a story. I didn't go into this trying to get myself into another car that I can't handle. I had just finished buying my Corolla 11, and my God, I love that car so much. But you know what comes up at auction the literal next week after I'm finished buying that car that I love is the other car that I love. Now, why specifically this one? Well, it came up for auction with some of the parts I didn't even know existed. I saw that car on the listing and I thought, if I don't buy this now, I am never going to have that and I will regret it my entire life. So I've got a list of all the OEM optional parts you could get for this little guy, and thanks to Max for putting this together because it seriously took hours.
Yes.
Some of the stuff on this list has never been seen before on YouTube, and one of them that this car has only been seen on the internet once. So we're gonna go through all the options that this car has, including the prices, and then we'll go through the options that you could get on the car that are not on my car. Our first thing on this list is a front underskirt. And that one here is this guy here. Now this just clips on to the OEM bumper, but it is a piece that Honda City owners really love because it is very rare, and that front bumper really gives it a more aggressive, menacing look. Now the bonnet also has an air intake. This is number 2. And it's this little strip here. And the idea, I suppose, I don't know if it's actually effective, but it's supposed to direct a little bit more air into your front grille. And then it says intercooler here, and I love it. And I'm a little bit worried about getting that repaired because I want to make sure that we restore that to its original goodness. Number 3, the bonnet outlet, which is lying a little bit. Here's the bonnet outlets, and I have seen these before in other cities, but they are, again, very, very rare. And I always originally thought that this was an outlet, like it actually was a vent for your hood, but instead it is just a style piece. Next one is the aluminum wheels, which, yep, they are not there. So we do have the original optional wheels. They're called the telephone wheels. This one came with these wheels, which I absolutely adore, but because the car is all original, I believe that we're going to go back over to the original optional wheels. I just need to find someone to restore them, including the diamond cut on them, because you can't just polish and repaint. It has to be diamond cut. Next is the rear underskirt, which is just a rear bumper extension here. And this guy here comes as kind of a single appearance package with the rear skirt, the side skirts, which we'll show you in a second, and then the front bumper extension. And with the mud flaps, you can get both. Turbo 2 mud flaps that fit onto this. Next is actually the clock in the interior. Now, typically you would get an analog clock here, but it was an upgrade in 1983 to get the digital clock. And this one has a cool little flip down, and you can set it there. But I love how the digital clock is the upgrade, because nowadays the analog clock would be the upgrade.
And the analog clock is actually the rarer option on this car.
Is it? So most of the City Turbo 2s, don't tell them that, Max, the producer. We're back outside now, and I've turned the lights on because the next option are the fog lights there at the bottom. And I think it is all sorts of cool that the original fog light fits in with this fog light shroud that is part of the lip, because you can get the fog lights with or without this lip. Producer Max, the floor mats, they're an option.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that's going to make some people angry. So the floor mats of this car are famous because they're stripy and cool looking, but because they're floor mats, they don't stick around very long. And these are some of the best looking floor mats I've ever seen. My other city doesn't even have the mats. And then this one's sadly ripped, but the style of this is very, very 80s. Next is a rear spoiler, sort of a rear spoiler. Of course, this is it. It's made out of soft material, just like the old BMW ones, and then needs to be repainted. But this spoiler is not actually going to give you any downforce. It is just there for style, but I think it's cool. And another one for the interior, and this might surprise you, but the air conditioning was an option, and it was not a cheap option. We believe that this is the most expensive thing that you could get as an option for the car. And I have tried it. It still does work, which is fantastic. But it only works, this is funny, it only works when you put it on the foot mode. When you put it on face mode, you don't get air conditioning. So you can have cold feet and a hot face, I guess. This one here is not an option. This is on all of them, but I thought it was cool to add anyway. This is a fridge. The AC runs through the vent. You can see there's a vent on this side here. And then you can put up to 4 cans of your drink of choice into here and then run the AC through it or the heater. And so mine's a little janky. Nonetheless, it is cool. So the next option is the big one. This is the whole reason why I wanted to buy this car and the reason why I bid $7,000 more than we actually won the car for, because I needed to get it. So the side skirts, these are special, but they're not as special as these rear over fenders. Now, the City Turbo 2 is very much like the Renault Turbo 2 with its blistered fenders and whatnot, but the factory one on the rear has always been a little bit on the small side. Here we have an extension to that, and I think this absolutely makes the car. This here with the gasket in black just to accentuate it, the 2 fake intakes here, and then at the back, maybe my favorite part, is this little pretend vent thing that comes just down from the taillight. And when I say this is rare, this is the part that there is only one picture on the internet that confirms that this is an official Honda part. And this is called the Honda Bulldog Aero Kit. The next one is the sunroof on the top. It seemed like a number of them got it. I wouldn't be too concerned whether it has a sunroof or not, but this one's a little special. It's a glass sunroof with its own little clips that you can pull out here. And a full glass sunroof like this back in the early 80s would have been a big deal. And I don't know how it works, but the sunroof glass can come out as well so that you can just remove this entire thing. Otherwise, it just pops up like that. This one is great. This was an optional kit for strapping your Motocompo into the back. There you go. I feel like this, like my version of the kit is missing something. So let's talk now about all the accessories that I don't have on my car. And maybe this will be a little bit quick because I want to focus on the good things about the car, not the bad things. Front underskirt sticker you can get. Next, a corner pull. This is for parking. It goes here on your corner just to show you how far you are away from things. Next, bonnet stripe sticker, side body stripe sticker, or a side body stripe logo. That's a second thing too, so different options there. Next one, visors for the side windows. A little bit of a bummer I don't have these, but I wonder if they would survive. They would go over your window here so you can crack it a bit without rain getting in. Next is mud guards, which I sort of have. They came in 2 different versions. There's the front ones and the rear ones that you can get. But if you got this side skirt here, you could not put the front ones on anymore. The rear ones you still could. Next, the door edge protector, trunk floor mat, which we're a little unclear on still. I believe that this one here is the OEM one, and then there was another mat you could put on top of that. Next one, a roof visor. Tell me if I'm wrong about this, but I believe a roof visor would go in front of the sunroof here to deflect air away.
Correct.
Steering wheel cover. Oh, gross. Rubber floor mats. I guess we're a thing. Rubber floor mats. Okay, rear quarter window film, so that means tinted windows, rear sun shield, like maybe a tint for the back window?
Or mesh.
Okay.
Okay, little disclaimer.
Yeah.
Most of this is text, no pictures whatsoever from all of the magazines.
So again, if there's anyone watching this who has any of these options, I would really like to see those, because as far as we searched, and producer Max searched his butt off for this, like several hours, this is all that we could find. This should be the most comprehensive video for the City Turbo 2 that's on the internet. Next one, roof box. So a storage box for the roof, I suspect.
There were a bunch of roof options for this car.
Now, next one is seat covers, which my other City has, but only one of the two, unfortunately. And then rear window sticker that says Hyper Turbo 2, which I am not a big fan of. I know a lot of people love the Hyper stickers. I'm not a big fan.
We got another sticker.
I'd rather stick with my Mighty Car Mod chopped fingers. Next one is the upper side body stripe or the lower side body stripe. That's two different ones. A roof ski carrier, or I did not know this was a thing, a surfboard carrier for your roof. Locking ski carrier, roof carrier, that would probably just be the bars on the roof if you wanted to add your own kind of carrier on the top. A rear body stripe, heated power mirrors. Oh, okay, so we got the one option that I would kill somebody for. I'm not going to do it, but I probably would if I can find one. It's called the Body Sonic seats. And what this is an option that costs 135,000 yen back in 1983, and it is for your audio system. Now, I have seen them in pictures. I don't know how many of them still exist, but from what I have seen, this option, it takes up this area here from your console, and you'll get different options for your audio, including vibrators for your butt, which sounds all sorts of cool. A speaker or a vibrating thing would take audio signals and it would play them through the seat. So you could feel the bass in the seat of your car. Now, this was a thing in the 80s and 90s. You could do this in the aftermarket, but Honda actually made it from factory. And I can't think of a single other car that you can option that on if you bought the car brand new. The last option on the list is the cold region package for Sapporo or Sendai. Usually this is a higher battery and an alternator that is a little bit higher spec.
That is correct.
All of them put together is 676,000 yen. All the options that my car has is 364,000 yen. So I got about halfway there. Now the car brand new was 1.25 million yen. And so this is why this car is so special. Most people who are buying a City Turbo 2, they were kind of a younger person who doesn't have a lot of money to spend on a car, but still wants something that's going to be sporty or driving their personality, like look at me kind of thing. But they didn't have a lot of money, so not many people bought all the options that you can get on it. And to find somebody who has put so many options on it, and then 40 years later, those options still existed, like I could see a world where this car exists and somebody bought it and then sold it in 5 or 7 years, and the next owner went, OEM parts, who needs that? I want to go into the aftermarket. I want to put on my own parts. But this one still got the original suspension, the original exhaust, the original optional parts, like those bumper pieces, like the hood pieces, and of course, like the Bulldog rear fenders. And that is why I needed to buy this car. Absolutely, you just can't. It's a one in 100,000 chance to find something like this. And since it's my all-time favorite car, gotta get that. If you watched all the way to the end of the video and you thought that we would sneak in the Motocompo into this video, we got you. We released a 40-minute adventure video shot in Tokyo that you can check out next. Click here. Now. Do it. Please. We're desperate for views. You're not going to actually put that in, are you?
It's funny.